Janusz, I'm going to look into my crystal ball and try and look ahead to the summer and sort out this striker situation at Arsenal. Now, this might not happen, but let's just pretend it does. Lacazette, who's out of contract, disappears. Aubameyang has no future at the football club. Arsenal sign a new striker. Who, within their budget, is the best fit for the Gunners that would come to the club? And let's assume as well that they finish fourth, because that's important, because I think the quality of player that you would get being in the Champions League might be different from the quality of player you would get if you don't qualify for the Champions League.
But that's a big asterisk, right? I mean,
we
don't know.
Let's do with and without then.
Yeah, no, well, look, I mean, the names, obviously, that we've seen. First and foremost, I'm not absolutely convinced that Lacazette is going to go, right? But even if Lacazette, even if, because, even if Lacazette stays, I think there's still need probably to get somebody. It's a young team. Yeah. I suspect that Mikel Arteta is going to continue to try to get players, I don't want to say for the future because they need him now, but players that are obviously younger. So, we're looking at the names like, Vlahovic, we're looking at the names like Patrick Schick and Calvert Lewin. Those three names have been around. Assuming that's true, and you say, who within their budget. I don't know their budget, of course, because Mr. Kroenke, even though he has a lot of money, doesn't always let us on how much money he's willing to spend. But I think out of the three, if I had a choice, I think it would be Calvert Lewin, although he's probably the most unrealistic of them all in a way. Look, as I've said, if you look at Arsenal right now, the way they play on the break, they want to get behind, right? And I think Calvert Lewin's probably the best of those three, if you talk about it. Unfortunately, I think his contract is until 2025. He's an English international. You know how much money players like that, players that do know the league. That's why I want him there, because I think he could come in right away. We know his quality, of course. He's still a young player. You can mold him in whichever way Mikel Arteta sees it fit. So for me, I would have gone for him. I'm going to look past this injury, who seems to go on forever, although I think he's back in training. I don't think there's indication that this is going to be chronic in any way. So that for me, would be number one choice. If you look at, Patrick Schick and Vlahovic, I don't want to say they're the same, but they're similar. Couple of issues with them, right? They're both young. Vlahovic is younger. At the moment, both are on fire, both with 16 goals in their respective leagues. Schick at Leverkusen and of course, Vlahovic at Fiorentina. That I know, him as well, Rako Kamiso as well. He's going to ask tons of money, but, look, they're more of a number nines. They can do a little bit more, but neither of them, between Schick and Vlahovic, are good in holding onto the ball with back to goal, that type of play, which sometimes in the Premier League you have to do, right? You have to show that strength. And they're young, they may learn, but it's going to take some time. So I think there's a little bit of risk in that. Vlahovic, unbelievable season. You and I have seen his quality already this season before, but not proven, right? I mean, this is the Premier League. So I think that would take some time. Patrick Schick, on the other hand, we've seen him do in Serie A. He's doing it in Bundesliga as well. I think maybe he would be the one that kind of now for a number of years have defied the odds, I want to say, right? Because I think we were dismissing him. Oh, Patrick Schick, but he's been consistent in how he's been scoring now in different leagues. So number one, Calvert Lewin. I think Vlahovic, I would go in a way because he's 21, he's young. You can still, I think, you can have him for years to come. Not that Patrick Schick is that old, but he's 24, 25, I think somewhere in there. So I hope I answered to. Calvert Lewin would be number one choice, but it's going to be very expensive and very difficult, I think, for Rafa Benitez and Everton to let him go.
For the Arsenal fans, Janusz, I just want to talk a little bit more about Dusan Vlahovic. You and I covered him for many years. No, I'll say many years. He's 21. We've covered him recently for Fiorentina, and he had times where he's got Castrovilli playing in behind him. He had times when he was playing with Franck Ribéry, which I think really helped his game. What type of player would Arsenal be getting with Dusan Vlahovic, and how much has he improved over the last couple of years? Because I remember most of his appearances were off the bench a couple of years ago, and at times he looked a little bit like a deer in the headlights. However, he was a teenager back then, and the progress that he has made over the last couple of years has been fantastic.
Look, I mean, he's got so much going, as we know. I mean, superb in the air, very good finisher in front of goal. I mean, you put him in the penalty area and you feel comfortable that he's capable of finishing, right? At an age of 21, he's showing incredible composure. You have to say that. The problem with him, again, is, the hold-up play, which at 21, you can still learn that, right? He's going to grow into his body even more with strength and conditioning. I think for Premier League, that's important. We have to talk about that because the game is 100 miles per hour. I mean, it's a shock to the system. I mean, to a degree, even Romelu Lukaku, right? There's probably that readjustment, even though he's been there. You know that it's a different pace, and you can't overlook that. I suppose. I think his passing is not great either, right? If you look at Vlahovic, his passing, we were talking about Patrick Schick, whose passing is not great. The short one is okay, but I think over distance when you sometimes have to. But young players, I suppose. I think you're making a great point in a way that Vlahovic has improved in leaps and bounds overnight. You almost want to say, right? So he is a sponge. He wants to learn. He can learn, and that's big, right? Because it tells you that, okay, this is going to be a different environment, different pace, different league. But when you look at the last 2 seasons, he's learned a lot and learned very, very quickly.
Final question for you, and we've discussed the merits of Calvert Lewin, we've discussed the merits of Dusan Vlahovic and Patrick Schick. There are others, of course, that Arsenal will be considering if they wish to add a striker to the ranks in the summer or even in the January transfer window. The question is this: if it's down to those 3, Calvert Lewin, Vlahovic, and Schick, you've got a one-on-one from the edge of the box against the goalkeeper for all the money in the world late on in the season to get into the Champions League or to win a trophy. Who are you putting your mortgage on? Calvert Lewin, Vlahovic, or Patrick Schick?
Yeah, I mean, they're all good, decent finishes. Calvert Lewin is not this unbelievable one, but I'm still sticking with him because it doesn't matter. If he scores, great. If he misses, no problem, right? I'm looking at a player that Arsenal need over the entire season, not just for one game. And I think over the entire season, I'm still sticking with Calvert Lewin. For now, I think when you look at the future, kind of, Vlahovic is super interesting. Probably the most interesting player out of the 3.
Pay over the odds for a striker that knows the league and knows how to get it done, or pay for promise? That's up to Arsenal to decide.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.